Republicans have been, or you don't understand why Republicans have been reluctant to embrace this proposal. Why is it? What's so different from back in 2004 when almost all of the statewides opposed it, and today when, as far as I know, only one so far has?
You mean opposed DOMA?
Right.
You know, that's a very good question. I think, well, of course, the way it evolved, I take some pride, and I think it was Sandy Tice that called me and said, and I think she was trying to set me up. But in any event, she called me as the initiative was being introduced, and said, "Well, what do you think of this DOMA? Are you for it or are you against it?" I said, "I'm against it." And I thought later, boy, I once again spoke so quickly, but in my heart, that's what I felt. I didn't think of the politics of it. I said, I'm against it. It's intolerant. When you read it, it looks and reads to be intolerant. It doesn't make Ohio appear to be very welcoming, which is the last thing we need. And at the same time, it doesn't foster an air of equality. And I think we need to have a better sense of that. And so we went through all of that. A few weeks later, I think George Voinovich came out against it, at the time our senator. And then a few days later, Mike DeWine, our senator also, and then our governor, Bob Taft. And so, yeah, I guess for senior elected officials, I was the lower rung of the totem pole, but fairly senior, came out against it, yet ultimately it passed handily in Ohio. Shows you how much influence we had. In any event, I think that as this were to proceed, more and more public officials will recognize the importance of true equality and the fact that government should be all about equality. If there's faith issues and faith-based issues around, that's a religious component, but that's not government. And so let that transpire in the minds of the parties from a religious perspective. As my wife is always fond of saying, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, render unto God what is God's. And so the government and governing is not a religious function. It's a function that deals with freedom and equality in a democracy, which we have. And I still believe we need to pursue that.